You're at Custom Corpses. Okay, I'm gonna go live, and how do I want to do this? I'm gonna put this on the stand, and then zoom in to what I've been working on. So bear with me, guys. Hang on a second. I need to put this stand on the other side of my chair. Whew. Been working on music like crazy. I just nuts. I don't know why I'm killing myself with the music because my season's just about over. Then I get back into the mask business. All right, so before I can answer any questions, before I can go crazy, I'm trying to get my don't mind the new shirt. I'm comfy and it's late and I don't feel like wearing a shirt. I'm just sweating and I'm feeling summer coming. So what I need to do, come on. Okay. Gonna go live. Hey, it's just that I'm so used to a regular computer. I'm thinking it's gonna pop right up and get up and go up real fast. And it doesn't. It takes a while. It takes a few minutes to get this thing fired up. It's a cheapo. What are you gonna expect, you know? So I'm gonna go to my channel, and I'm gonna go to Custom Corpses. And there's my live feed. Okay, am I live or am I not? There I am. London's on, baby. All right, London, I see what you're. And I. Speaking of eye cuts, man, there's so many things I have changed with this because I'm seeking perfection. I'm really trying to go really perfect with this. Um, let's see. Okay, where do I start? Okay, the first thing I did when I realized this wasn't correct, all right, is you see the cheek lines here? Well, they used to be all the way up front here. They were like literally out front of the face, and the face made the face look really flat. And I couldn't figure out what the problem was. And then I realized, I'm like, oh man, of all things, I always preach. I always preach depth, angles, and depth. Angles and depth. I always say it over and over and over and over again. But the problem is, you get caught up trying to perfect this and trying to perfect that, and you're looking at the little pictures and not the big picture. And that's really the headache that we have as sculptors. Our eyes are acting as though 3D scanners for 3D, you know, tools. And I'm still a novice at this, so I'm not perfect at it yet. You know, I'm still learning this. And there's guys that have been doing this for 30, 35 years, and they still haven't produced a really nice mask. I've seen guys that like do it and been in it for a long time. There's only a handful of people that are really good, and I think that's Nag, and I think that's Nick Malpagano, and also Spook House Productions. Oh, come on, the name escapes His name escapes me right now. But they're the only three people that I look at in the miles. Check that out. Yeah, I can tell it's late. I got my coffee. In the Myers game that I'll watch. Most times to try to learn from these guys. Yeah, well, and here's why I put that clay base here. All right, when you flip that upside down, that clay base is in there. It's going to be in the silicone, which will be in the stone as well. But my plan is to slush cast because I'm going to be doing it in resin molds. I'm no longer going to do stone molds. So when you slush cast in resin, you know, it gives me this extra depth right here. In other words, it's going to be this the top of the top of the rim will be all the way down here where the base is, right on the where the surface is, right here. That means that when I slush cast, I'll have the latex will definitely get into the very bottom of the mask. You don't have to worry about it being too thin in spots, especially around the edge of the mask. You don't want that to happen. So I put a little uh, clay base around the thing. You just got to try to imagine this thing flipped. In London, you've done this. You know what I'm talking about. You flip it upside down, and this becomes like a giant bucket when it's a mold, you know, for putting latex into. You know, it becomes a giant bucket only because I'm no longer going to be doing stone. I didn't want the neck right on the surface, and then have the stone right or whatever silicone or stone going right to the surface and then across, because then you have no slush casting ability. Everything spills out on you. This here will capture anything that I don't, you know, it'll keep me from spilling slush cast. It'll keep me from spilling clay. And clay, all this stuff's expensive. So, okay, so let's get back to what I did. All right, so if you look at the profile here, you got to catch up. Man, I'm watching like history here. Okay, so if you look at the profile here, all right, this cheek has to line up with the outside here. Now this is leaning backwards. If this was leaning forward, you'd see that this cheek line is lining up with the corner of this eye cut. All right, that's the slant of the face. It lines up with the corner of the eye cut. And that's the depth that has to be there. All right, it's here and then it cuts back, and that's how that's supposed to be. Also, notice when I say depth and angles are so important. The angle here, the angle here, the angle here, they all line up. All right, that's important. That's real important. When I sunk this depth back here, this dent right here used to be all the way up in this area. All right, and I'm going to say that, like, looking at it from a profile now, this is where that dent, or this dent here started, was like right here. You know, because it looks so flat right in this area. So the dent went straight up, and that's not the way it's supposed to be. It goes back. All right, and here's what it is. This was going more vertical because of that, and it wasn't matching this slant. This is the proper slant here in the head, and you want to make sure the slant's almost identical. You know, that these are the angles. I'm sharing this info with you in case you're overlook this kind of stuff yourself, London. Notice, like, now the check mark cheek is here. You can, it's hard to see, but you can see it here. I brought this cheek line back to here, and that's now lined up. When it's slanted, it's lined up with that outside eye cut. And now this goes back this way, and it follows suit. Follows suit with these two angles. And then there's a little dent right in here that also it follows. So everything's in perfect alignment. Now I've been working on the eye cuts. This is what I noticed. So I got my caliper out, right? This is a caliper. And I went over to my old resin sculpture and I measured the eye cut. In other words, I did it from this. This is how I did it. Let me see. Hold on, let me try and get this accurate first. So I measured the eye cut width like this, at the furthest peak up and the lowest point. And I went over to my resin copy of my first version, which we know that the eye cuts were too big. So, in the process of sculpting, and for whatever reason, I forgot to actually add the clay to make the eye cuts smaller. I thought I did. Maybe it was the old pour. I'm not sure what I did or how when I did it, because I'm constantly working on this damn thing and it's driving me batshit crazy. So I went over to the resin copy. I took my measurement from my eye cut, and then I took that measurement and I went over to my resin copy, and it was identical in size. That means I was like, well, wait a minute. You did not accidentally shape them the same size as that sculpture, as the old sculpture. They're identical. So I'm either a creature of habit, or I completely forgot to close those eye cuts in. And how I close them in is, you have to remember, when you're sculpting and you have the head set where your eye cuts are, I can't bring it down too much lower here, because the eyes are perfectly lined up to about here, right up above here, your eye centers, all right, are about right here. All right, now, with that being said, I can't lower the eye cuts, but I can bring the eye cuts underneath. So I added clay underneath of the eye cut in here, all right. That closed the gap to the right size. Now the eye cuts are perfect, but here's what happens. When you add that clay this way, it makes the eye cut look very elongated, because you've now taken away the proper proportions of the eye cut in and around. So what you have to do is you have to shorten the eye cut, and usually do it from the outside. All right, you have to shave away here, and I even dug into the eye cut itself and took away more of the clay here and dug into here, and also took away a little of the bottom over here to shorten the eye length. When I looked at the screen used mask that's up on the wall, this eye cut is perfect now. This eye cut is absolutely right on the money as far as the shape of the eye cut. Let me see if I can't. I used it on my phone. Damn it. Oh well. I was looking at pictures on my phone to match the eye cut. So the eye cut here is absolutely spot on now. I still have some, like, shaving to do in here to kind of bend it in a little bit. I don't want it completely square right there. I'm working on this eye cut now. I'm still trying to determine whether I have to bring it up a little higher here, a little straighter, which I'm looking at the pictures, and it does suggest that I need to go just a straight up and down kind of, actually. And now, because I know, you know what, I do realize now. Okay. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm looking at the pictures on the wall over here, and I can see the angle shot. This piece that goes right into this corner of the eye cut is right where it needs to be. The problem is it's too steep this way. It's got to be a little bit more down. So what I want to do is go down like that. All right. Now this eye cut is almost the right size. Yeah, that looks really spot on now. Now I'm looking at that other picture, and I really got this thing close to what the screen used mask is. Now I'm using, I'll tell you what picture I'm using. You know the picture with the 3 mask heads that are in flesh tone? They're actually the 3 heads. They look like flesh tone color. And you can tell it's the mask because the eyes are cut out. So what I've been doing is I'm using those 3 pictures to really get these eye cuts pretty accurate. So that being said, that looks really good. All right, this has to be straightened out just a little bit more depth here. I love this. I love it so much, and everybody's. Hey, prayers have to go out to my friend Pipe Master. Pipe Master's having some health issues. Just say some prayers for him. That's all I say, everybody out there. Just say some prayers for him. Good guy, really good guy. We get into spats all the time because I'm bullheaded, and I think so is he. So when we're looking, and he really helps me a lot. He does. He really helps me more than I even appreciate. And I'm starting to learn that more and more every time because he keeps proving me wrong. And I'm so blessed to have his eyes on this project because I'm still a novice. I'm still a rookie at this. These guys have been studying these masks for a long time. They love, and Pipe Master's a collector. He's not a sculptor, but he has a keen eye for detail. He really, really does. And what happens, I get caught up, like I said earlier, I get caught up into the littlest details, and I'm not looking at the big picture. So what Pipe Master's been able to do is actually, and this has helped me out a lot too, once I realized the way I have to do is I have to photograph it. I have to constantly photograph it and look at it as a photo, because that's how we see it on the movie screen. It's in a photo, in a film. So you want to try and make your mask look, your sculpture look like the film, not like the sculpture in some of these pictures, because some of these pictures, the reason why the pictures are really tough to follow is because if you take a picture too close to an object, it changes the shape of it. If you don't take the photo correctly, you don't have a true rendition of what the mask looks like. You really don't. And it's really difficult. And we have so many limited pictures. We don't have a lot of pictures to go by. We really don't. We don't have a lot to use. So so here's the other thing I did. I also have been struggling with the lips. All right, we've got the peaks perfect. This one's a little lower than the right side. I made the bottom lip perfect. Biggest thing I've noticed with a lot of these masks, well, Nag kind of has theirs right, but the Nag, I think the back of the head doesn't look right to me. It's the shape of the head. This portion, the profile. For some reason, the profile doesn't look right in the back of the head. It looks very elongated. Now, that might have been just the way it was sitting in the. I got a picture. I don't know. I did have a Nag. That's right. Yeah, that's right. I didn't like the way that back of the head looked. We actually worked on a Nag mask. So, right now, what I'm doing is I'm smoothing out. Oh, but here's the other thing I did. These crevices here were way too deep. And as I was shaping the eye cuts and everything, I literally had to fill these back in. That's why you're seeing this clay like it is right here. I'm trying to smooth it back out. But I had to build this back up some more because it was too deep and too flat against the face here. So there's all these little things that I have done. I did the, the lips, this area here, I'm so happy with now, the way this is shaped. You see the little bumps on the inside here? You can see it in the shadowing. You can see it in the lighting here as I'm facing the camera. You can see the bumps. That's how the screen used mask is. It's just it has these bumps on the little and the pitch is right. The pitch of this angle, that's real important too. That's another thing that I see with a lot of these masks. And mine, I had the same problem. They were too vertical like this and not out like that. And how it tucks in at the very corners of the mouth, it goes around and then tucks in up. And it goes flat on the top of the corner of the mouth. And believe it or not, the bubble, I've got some close-ups of some of the masks. Actually, it was Sean Clark, his mask. He shared a photo of it. And now we can see that the bubble sits on top of the lower lip. It doesn't sit in between the two lips. It sits on top of the lower lip. So there's all kinds of like little tiny things that can drive you batshit crazy trying to perfect. And every time you think you got it right, you take a photo of it and it's like, oh, something don't look quite right. And here you go again, making changes. But this big mistake of not, I had to have forgotten because they were literally the exact size, the eye cuts. When I took the resin hard copy came directly from the silicone mold. And that means it didn't lose any size. It's the exact same size. All right. So when I measured the eye cut on my sculpture and then took this little thing over here and I went up against my resin copy, they were literally identical. So that one of two things happened. A miracle, I literally cut the eye holes out bigger again, and I really don't think I did that, but I really think what I did do is I forgot to fill in the eye cuts, and I had to do it from the bottom. And that's how, and then also what that did was it brought this in closer, all right, both the distance, because when I filled in the lower eye cuts, the eye cuts looked too elongated, so I literally had to bring in the eye cuts from the outside, both bottom and top, until they looked right in proportion. They didn't change from the centers here, in the crevice of the eye cuts. I had to change it from the outside, and that's the secret to how to shrink your eye cuts. It's not so much from the inside; it's from the outside. That's how you shrink them in. You bring them in, and when you do it, you sculpt it so you're shaping this in here. And you keep bringing this in and bringing this in and make sure it's rounded like it's supposed to be. All right, but you got to keep bringing that in, and that's how you get your eye cuts in the right. And you got to make sure your slants are right, your angles here and here. And what I also did was I made my eye cut depth, the inside of the eye cut, closer to the edge, because when it's heavily shadowed, you don't get a true look of what the eye cut shape really is. What's happening, Asylum, man? I just went over a whole bunch of cool tips on how to sculpt these things. And I'm learning as I go because I'm still a rookie at this. Anybody that's only been doing it for 3 to 4 years is a rookie, trust me. And guys that have been doing it for 30, 35 years and still don't have some of these masks perfected. That just goes to show you how hard this really is. It really is a hard project. It's not easy. But I made a lot of changes and I've been trying to fix. So Asylum, real quick, I'll explain to you real fast. Yes, I had to. And here's what I'll explain to you. I don't know where or how, and I'm pretty damn sure I never made the adjustment. I'll leave it at that. So I took my caliper, right? And I was like, these eye cuts look big. They still look big to me. Why are they so big? Right? They look big. So I took the caliper and I measured the eye cuts. Now they're small again. They're fixed. The eye cuts are fixed, and this eye cut is perfect. This literally looks like the screen used mask now. The shape of this, especially the upper part, the bottom part, I'm still kind of like refining perfectly. But I took the caliper. Now, in my silicone mold, I made a resin copy of my version 1. And I made a resin copy of my version 1. And it's a hard plastic. And it's the exact same size. So I took the measurement and I went, okay, let's go see if it looks like it's the same damn size. So I took the caliper and I went over to my silicone, my resin mold master copy, and the eye cut was exactly the same size. And I'm like, wait, there's no way. And I did both sides. So I'm pretty damn sure what happened was along the way, I never shrunk the size down. I meant to do it and never did it. And I was like, oh man, I can't have the same eye cut size again, because if I'd have done that, holy shit, here we go again. I would have had another version 2 with the eye cuts too big again. So I am not, I don't care if I have to do this over and over and over and over and over again, but this sculpture has to be perfect. I am not settling for less than perfect. I really want this thing spot on. As I adjusted the eye cuts, I noticed that in here was way too deep on both sides. So I put in some clay in here, filled out the bottom here because I had to make adjustments. There's all kinds of little things. No, and that's exactly it, Asylum. I'll tell you, and prayers go out to my buddy Pipe Master. Say a prayer for Pipe Master. He's been dealing with some health issues. Hopefully nothing major, but we're waiting on blood work and that kind of fun stuff. And I don't want to get into private stuff with his private stuff, but hopefully everything's good. And I just want everybody to keep him in thoughts. That's all I ask. So me and Pipe Master over the last couple of days have been battling back and forth. Man, the lips don't look quite right. They don't look quite right. Something's wrong with the lips. I'm like, I had them perfect. I thinking it was the lighting. But here, the tip of this right side of the lip, the peak, had a little dent in it, and it made it look flat. And I was like, what the hell's wrong? And I'm looking at the picture. Once I looked at the picture and said, well, that's the only thing I can see wrong. And I'm just glad I have his eyes, because his eyes on this project really has helped me. Because here's what I keep doing. I'm a creature of habit, and us artists, we have our thoughts on what Michael should look like. We all have that. That happens. But I'm trying to break the mold. I'm trying to get away from that thought process and really try to sculpt exactly what you see, not what you think you see. All right, and that's difficult, man. That's really difficult for a sculptor to do. And we all do it. We all have our habits. And there's very, very, very few people out there that are so good that they never follow their opinion. They always follow what they see. And that's what I'm trying to do with this sculpture, is go with what you see. And my creature of habit is, outside of thinking that I definitely had to have made a mistake and didn't cut the eye cuts right, or didn't have the eye cuts the right size. They were still too big. So now they're right. They're right on the money. And I had to make sure that this was right. Let me go. Now see, what you'll see is the inside of that eye cut. It takes you away from the outside of the eye cut. All right, and that's what I'm trying to eliminate so people can see the actual eye cut. So I dig a little deeper into the eye cut down on the bottom to take away the visibility of that edge. Now the only other way I can do it is fill it in once I get this perfect. But I have these eye cuts really spot on now. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you think that these look good, the eye cuts? Now this one here is, oh my God, it is so identical to the screen used mask. So right now I'm just smoothing out in here. Got to bring this back to where it was, you know, as far as, yep, that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I really have this close. I'm splitting hairs now at this point. Um, Now, and when you make an adjustment, when you're sculpting, on the left side, wait a minute, are you talking this side or this side? Check mark cheek is how I always say it. If it's the check mark cheek, I know you're talking about this side. If you're wearing the mask, it's the right side. If you're looking at it, it's the left side. But I always say check mark cheek side. That's how I always. Yes, it does. I mean, if it's this side you're talking about, yes, it does. It looks exactly like that. And I've seen so many copies, so many pictures of it now. I'm just like, and the true giveaway was it looks very, yeah, this is very accurate to the screen used right now because I noticed with it, it goes down, but it looks very flat across up here, and then it does this little bend right in here, and then straight down. But see, when you're looking at it straight on, it looks like it's flat across, and then it just does this dip. But when you look at it from an angle, it's literally a cut straight back. This is why it's so difficult to sculpt this thing, because you're dealing with a lot of angles. All right, now this side here needs to be just a little bit steeper. I can see that now. But how I usually make my cut steeper without affecting my just like that. I'm blocking your view. Give me a second. I'll show you what I'm doing. All I did was I cut away that edge right there. Well, you see I'm working with crumbs of clay now. I'm actually sculpting away crumbs of clay to really refine this thing. Perfect. Yeah, that's it right there. Woo, man. Holy shit, that's there. Wow. That's what was the problem. It was too narrow in this area. These two distances. Now what I'm going to do is, because this is so deep, I'm definitely going to fill this in some so you can see the edges. Wow, that looks good. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. It's good from there. So why is it not working here? Okay, I see what the problem is. I see what the problem is because of that little adjustment. Too much. Okay, so that tells me, here's the little secret that I have to work on now. Here's what it tells me. All right, so I have to come out just a little bit more on this side to make this more steep. All right, now you see that big chunk of clay there, right? It's just a little bit, is all it is. It's not a lot. It may look like a lot because I put a lot there. But all I did was try to make it more steep there. That's all I'm trying to do. Which brings this cut down. Oh yeah, now I got to fix this. Let me see. You have to remember, this is like moving crumbs of clay to really bring in the exact shape. Now I'm just bringing this out to the edge. You'll see what I'm saying in a minute. And making it flush with the face. Then I hone in the cut. Let's see. And now, I'm looking at did there? I don't know how good you can see that. All yours, only yours. I love it. Still looks too round. Wait a minute. Okay. Struggling with this a little bit. Everybody ready for summer? I know I am. Ooh, I think I got it. I think we got it. I think what was throwing my eye off is I was looking at the inside cut, not the outside cut. And that's what throws you off big time. It really does. It can throw you off a lot. It's like trying to look at something with all the shadows. You can't really see the definition of it. All right, now what I do is I kind of pitch the table up. And it tells me whether I'm on the money. Yeah, I'm wow, that looks good. But now, to make sure that I didn't take too much away, I'm going to go measure my eye cut on my old sculpt and make sure that it's not still too big. Let's see, guys. Don't mind my fat belly. Oh God, this is terrible. I can't reach up. You know what? I'm gonna take this down so you guys can see what I'm talking about. This is the exact same size. This is my original hard copy. Let me put this down for a second and put it next to it. That's what we need to do, put it next to it. Yeah, the eye cuts are a lot smaller. I can see that already. See it? Shit. Let me move the camera a little bit so you guys can see this. This sculpture is even smaller. Hold on, I need to stick something underneath this. Something to wedge this so it won't move. There we go. Now this is a little crooked. Let's see if we can adjust the camera so you guys can see. Yeah, the eye cuts are a lot smaller. Yeah, I'm good. I had to make sure that I was good. This is the original sculpt, guys. This is the original flashback. That's the actual full size of the actual sculpture itself in clay. Because, and notice how much smaller this chin, look how much further up the chin is. The head, and that's sitting up on high, so the neck's a little longer on this resin copy. But this head's smaller. You can see that it's physically a lot smaller than this original sculpture of the look how much bigger that is. That's crazy. The original FB, it was good. It wasn't, I don't know. There's things wrong with it that I didn't know. I didn't know. And sometimes you don't know how good a mask is going to be until it's in latex. That's another issue. You know, there's things about it that, you know, the funny thing is, ooh, there's a perfect example. You can see the check mark cheek? All right, although this is a wider dent, so it looks like it's going in the right proportion this way. The check mark, it's all the way out in front here, almost flush with the back of the nose. And that's not the way that's supposed to be. It's supposed to be flush with the outer eye cut. And if you put that slant, it's off by like maybe a ½ inch. That's where that check mark's supposed to slant back, about a ½ inch further back, only with an angle like this. You know, the face looked too flat to me. There's just a lot of things that weren't right, and you can see the difference in size on the lips. Let me do this because this thing is not sitting. I want them to be sitting at the same angle. A little bit more. There we go. About the same angle now. Yeah, look at the size of his eyes. The eye cut's different. So much different. Even the mask size is way different. It's so much smaller. The face is more narrow. I just think the version 2 is going to be a much nicer sculpture. It really is. It's going to be a much nicer mask. Now you can see the shadowing in here because of 1, the color. 2, the light angle is not catching this just right. This light is up over top of it, like literally right down on it, like this. And that's what's causing that shadowing right in here really nicely. You can really see that shadowing. I'm also going to take a little bit more clay off in here, for just like this, to match that. So one thing about that, the version 1, is it had a lot of depth in the details. Except for on this cheek here, it didn't have a lot. Yeah. Look at the size of the lips. You'd think that but they're so narrow here like this. That's what I didn't like this about this original sculpture. Too narrow. That and These were not far enough apart. The peaks weren't far enough apart where they are here now. They're all the way out here. They're literally, let me see. Can I measure the difference? The two peaks. All right, so. Man, they're almost there. All right, here's what's throwing it off. The peaks are about the same, but the problem was this wedge on these I don't know what this is called. This part here, they were very narrow. Yeah, see, they were very narrow. Those peaks. So it was throwing it way off. I don't know. It just didn't look as good as it could have. And this in here was wrong. There's like these little tiny dents that I carved into here. You can see them, and this looked too square, and not. There's things that aren't quite perfect. Just so you know. So. Yeah, I mean, that settles my nervous. Those eye cuts are definitely a lot smaller. I can see it now side to side. So yeah, I fixed that issue. So that issue's fixed. Now I just have to smooth out. Do I have this right now? Does it look right to me? Let me try to look at that. The deepest point is like right here on this eye cut. Not over here. It almost looks like it's flattened out here. It's gotta meet that the deepest point right in here, and then so I gotta fill this in just a touch more. This is how you do this thing, man. You really don't. You got to sneak up on this kind of all these small details. You really do. Yeah, that's starting to look better. Yeah. You got to sneak in to those little details. Just need to put a little bit of clay right in here. More worried about just the surface of the face, not so much the inner inside. Let me just put this guy back. Don't get old. It sucks. There we go. He's back on his mantle. I can see how the original FB is getting upset. Yeah, it's getting upset, all right. pitch has to be right. The pitch of the eye cut has to be right, where you got yourself a it won't look right from different angles. Yeah, okay, now we're on it, baby. And now I know that I've got the eye cuts. Um, all right, yeah, that's looking good. Did I go too far? No, I didn't go any deeper than what I had. I didn't cut the outer edge. I just dug in so you can see the edge better without the shadowing. Right? I know what I did? Correct me if I'm wrong. I didn't cut too deep into that, right? Got to get the eye cuts perfect. And then work on the smoothing. And never look at the eye cuts from one angle. It's always from all different angles. It might be too deep. That might be too deep, but that ain't nothing but a little problem right here. I can see it. It's close. Man, is it close. Now you see just how hard, trying to get this kind of stuff right. Some people are real good at eye cuts, some people are real good at ears, some people are real good at noses. Some people are good all the way around. I think once I got the gist of the nose, that was pretty good. But man, that nose was a struggle for a while. You just have to get a better understanding of human anatomy. Okay, what am I not seeing here? See, here's the issue. Excuse me. I feel like I'm not seeing something. I'm missing something. Maybe it's the depth of the clay here. See, this is where it gets difficult because now you're trying to see there's something wrong, but you can't figure out what it is. This is where it gets to be a pain in the ass because there's something not quite perfect. And it's the pitch of the eye cuts that I'm struggling with right now. It's getting the pitch right. See, I don't want this dip, this low area here can't be too big because then it becomes a round eye and not an oblong, like, so what I need to do. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, I see what it is now. All right. That's what I needed to see. Now it's smoothing out. Yeah, that's it. That's the proper eye cut. But now it just needs to be a lot of perfecting. Getting the shape just right is the hard part. Getting the smoothing part is the easy part. But I'm kind of probably cut off tonight. Just wanted you guys to join me. London, you still there? So I don't think a lot of people are sharing, or showing what I'm showing, and it's not because I'm trying to grow my channel. That is not the point of this. This is just to help people. Um, I'm not even trying. I don't even care about the channel, to tell you the truth. See what I'm doing here, right? Taking away some of the bulk in here, plus putting that proper shape into that eye cut, into the underneath the eye cut. It also seems to be helping the way it looks too. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. That's what Yeah, it's on. It's on. I can't go too. See, here's what I look at. On the screen used mask, the lowest peak is right here in the center. on the right eye cut that I'm pointing at right here. All right, and I have to look at this side. This side is always just a touch lower. So if you run a parallel line across the top of this peak, this lowest point right here is at the right position. It's also lighting. The lighting is not helping you guys out at all. And the angle of the face. The angle of the face is leaning back because the angle of the cut is in the neck already. If this thing is looking forward, you'd be able to see what I'm seeing. Because I'm looking down on this mask, my eyes are actually about 4 inches, about 3 inches above the top of the head. That's where my eye line is, and that means I'm looking like almost straight at the face, looking down straight at the face. And every time I look at the camera here, every time I look at what you're looking at, I purposely tilt the face up to look at it like this, to see what you're seeing. And yeah, man. Okay, so what I'm going to do real quick is fill this lower eye cut some, because it's really deep in here. I'm not trying to fill the eye cut, I'm just trying to fill it. I'll show you what I'm doing. I'll show you and I'll show you and I'll show you. I'll show you, I'll show you, I'll show you, I'll show you. I'm just taking away the depth of the eye cut. When I take away the depth, you can see the outer edge better. You can see where the line is. It was too deep and it's causing too many shadows. All right, so now I take my little shaper. I don't know what they call this, but I call it a shaper. Okay. Now see, by keeping the eye cut shallow like that, I need now it allows you to see the edge better. And it's a sloppy edge. We're going to fix that. Yeah, well, the problem was the eye cuts were too big. They literally matched the other sculpture. I shaped them, but I never sized them. I don't know how the hell I did that. I really don't. I'm still scratching my head over that, but I know they're perfect now. Yeah, the only way I could show you is taking a picture and putting these eye cuts side by side to the screenshot, which I can't do while I got my phone. Actually, can I? Wait a minute. No, because I gotta use my phone to take the picture. So what I'll do is I'll do a quick update. I'll do a real short video of the two pictures side by side. Got the hiccups. Ozempic. That's what causes that. Believe me, guys, and Pipe Master and a lot of you guys probably feel the same way, that I'm dragging my feet on this. I am in a way, but I'm not doing it for the reasons you think. I'm not dragging it because I'm trying to not do it. I'm trying to get it perfect. And I really don't want anything less than perfect, to tell you the truth, because I don't plan on making a version 3. That's the whole point. I do not want to make a version 3. This is it. I'm moving on to other projects. So that is my point. I don't want to make a version 3. So get it right this time and call it a day. Moving on to other things. I'm still going to make, now this is going to be my base. I'm going to use this sculpture right here, the shape of this. It's going to be used for my 2018 or H40 mask. I'm going to age this to make it look like the H40. That's it. I'm not going to go crazy resculpting it and changing the face. And it's going to be, this is a poor copy of this mask, but I'm going to age it into the H40 to make it look like this. And I have all the, I can see where the lines are on here, but I got better details in cameras. So that's the plan. This is a bad shape, man. You can see that how rotted. This is literally brittle. Bad latex that they used on that mask. Really bad. People are having fits on that mask. Their masks are falling apart. Oh yeah, I got this thing, man. This is it. Baby, we got it. That looks good. It wasn't until I filled in those eye cuts that I could see the actual, the shape of it now. I'm happy with this. This is it. 30 eye cuts. Now I just have to work on smoothing. Yeah, I do. And it's why I'm so important to make sure that these eye cuts are small, because if they aren't, the picture it's on my phone, his eyeballs literally fit perfectly in the mask. His eyeballs this big inside the skull, inside the mask. I mean, his eyeball looks exactly like the same size as the damn eye cut. So I'm like, my eye cuts, Jesus, man, my eyeballs are like this big. And my eyeball itself, the the color, it just, the eye cuts were too big. So when this shrinks down, now this is a bigger version of this, but when I shrink this down, this is going to give me the, yeah, this is gonna do it. We got ourselves a badass sculpture here. man. Yeah, I still have the photo of the Sean Clark mask. Um, but that photo was shot. How I know is because you can see the back of his door, the ceiling and the door. You can see the very top of the door. So that means the picture was taken on an angle upward. All right, and it was too close. The picture he took of it was way too close to you. It distorted the picture, so you can't use that for reference. As much as I wanted to use it for the lip region, and I still couldn't use it for reference because it was so distorted, the actual shape of it, because the picture was taken too close and on a really terrible angle. You know, Sean was holding on to I know he wasn't calculated and thinking. He just took the picture of where he was wearing the mask. That's all. It was with the hoodie on, and he was just taking a weird angle. It was taken from a weird angle. At Custom Courses, what if Chris Nelson sent you a blank from the flashback molds? What if? I'll tell you what that would require me to even get a copy of that. He would tell me to cease and do not make this sculpture. Do not. He would tell me to not make this. That would basically tell me that I'm very close to perfection. If he sent me a copy of that mask to keep, no, I can't say that I would quit making this mask. There's too much money on the table for that. What would I be willing to do? That's the question. What would I be willing to do to get that mask? Really nothing, because I'm not a mask collector, guys. I don't. I have more gratification in trying to make the mask than trying to own the mask. He could give me that for no price. Anybody could give me that mask for zero cost. And I know it goes against the grain. You guys are collectors. I'm a creator. I don't collect masks. That's why you don't see a lot of masks in my studio. You don't see them out there. I have the screen used, but it was always for reference. I always bought masks just for reference to get the true shape of it, only to replicate it. But the 2018 I was trying to replicate. Actually, the 2018 mask, the reason I bought that was to overhaul them. I started out, if you watch my very first videos, I was overhauling the 2018 mask. Not a great job at it, but it was okay. But I was doing overhauls before anybody else was. I didn't see anybody doing overhauls, to tell you the truth, when I started, because I literally started overhauling the mask, because I repainted the mask, my mask, when I got it, because I hated the paint job on it. So the next thing you know it, we used to have a place called Patty's Party World, and right around the corner from me. And they closed shop and moved to Florida. So anyway, I used to take the mask and buy them, and then overhaul them, repaint them, whatever you want to call it, put new hair on them, and I would put them in the store. And we'd put a $250, $300 price tag on them, and I sold like several of them. People bought them, and I made some money. But they bought the artwork. They didn't buy the mask. The mask was free. The mask, they got their 60 for the mask, whatever it was. I forget what it was, $60 or $80, whatever it was. What I advertised was the overhaul, and that's how I got around it. We weren't reselling the mask as the mask itself. We were reselling it as the artwork that you put into it. The overhaul, just like all these other guys are doing, no different. Only I was in a store, a small store. It wasn't hugely known. It was locally. It was a local place. But people did come down from the city every, in the summertime, and they would they'd see it and buy it. But man, I'm really close here now. I am so close to perfect on this. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. I just have to do all this smoothing out in here now. I got a lot of smoothing to do. A lot of smoothing to do. And I need a smaller blade here to work inside of there. Now, I'm barely touching that. You see how much clay is coming off of this? I am barely touching that. But all I'm trying to do is take all the high spots from the ridges of the blades. That's what I'm doing. I'm working off all the high spots, just taking them down. And I'm letting the weight of I'm holding this loosely in my hand. I'm not really pushing on it. It's almost the weight of it itself. Just rake across it. I see a high spot, I touch it with this thing. Just to take it down. All of a sudden it disappears, and then you know you got the right thing. You got it right. At the same time, you're crisscrossing. You don't want to create more lines by raking too much in one spot, in one direction. And I see there's a little bit of a bump in here. See, that's one thing about the clay. Once you take the shine out of it by scraping it, you can see the little bumps and stuff that are sticking up too high. But you got to constantly move it. Once I took some of the depth off of this here, it started matching the other side, and that's why it was throwing me off a little bit when I was looking at it. Good God. There's 5 people on. London likes the eyes. Yes, I had to alter it. Yes, I had them just reading all the text. And anybody else still? Yeah, there's 5 people still on, including myself. So there's 4 of you, because I'm monitoring what's going on. You hit the like button, share the content. If you're not a subscriber, become one. At least I don't hide the things that I learn. I learn myself. I haven't really started any art school. I wanted to, but I never bothered. I need to, though. I want to better my craft. So I'm going to sign up. I said I was going to do it this year, but I got so busy with work, my other work, that I couldn't do it. And I'm either sculpting or I'm working with music. So it gives me very little time to do anything else. It really does. But I've been planning on joining Stan Winston's School of Art. It's online classes, and man, it really reveals some really awesome secrets. And just a few videos that a buddy of mine showed me, because he signed up for it. He stuck it out. I just didn't have time. I wanted to. And these videos, once you sign up for this class, they're available to you. You can just look them at any time, anytime you want. It's an expensive course. I think it's like $300 to $400 for the year. It's a renewal subscription type of thing, so you got to constantly stay renewed to watch the new content and the older content. Yeah, I'm nowhere near ready for naphtha. Not doing that yet. I got to get those edges cleaner over here. They look really rusty, really marred up a little bit. They got to be smoothed out. I'm very happy with this. Very, very happy, because it looks a lot like that. When I tilt it up, let me take it down. Shit, it's hard to really tell. Picture I've been using. Let me show you. All right. That's what I'm looking at. You notice how the top of this eye cut is more square, straight across, and then it goes up a little bit. It goes up a little higher here, and then it tucks right down. But this is the picture that I've been looking at, and this is the screen used mask. Can you see it? Now the size is way different. I'm staying still for you guys. You can zoom in. If you can zoom into the, I don't know if you can do that with, no, you can't really do that on YouTube, can you? Screenshot it if you're on your computer, and then zoom in. You can see the difference between the two eye cuts. I'm going to do an over and under shot like I did with this before. This was the same one that I used, same picture, that made those eye cuts so perfect last time. The only problem is they were too big. So I'll put that back on the wall later. It's the angle. It's the angle, the angle, the angle. Remember, I can't, because if I tilt this forward, all this stuff's going to fall off. The reason why this chin looks so flat here and it's not really, looks like it's down, because on this shot, this picture, the camera is literally above his head when they were looking down on the mask. So you saw this jawline more refined. The same look happens here when I'm standing above this on that same angle. And I can see that jawline more refined. But if you had a straight on shot of this, you would see the same thing. This literally is leaning back. I mean, look how far back that face is leaning. It's slanted backwards, tilted backwards. Look at that line. Give me a second. Yeah, see that line? This picture here, when you're looking at it, you're straight on, or you're above it, looking down. But you're seeing up underneath the chin and everything on this sculpture. But when I take pictures and I post them or send them to friends, I put my camera to the outside. Yeah, and that's what's causing that. That's what's causing that look. It's the angle of the camera, and the angle of the face. The face is leaning backwards, and it's because if you notice when you get a mask, the mask is never square here. There's always a tilt. There's always a cut like that because your shoulders get in the way. So there's always a slant cut into the neck. All right. Well, the slant's in this already, and it's leaning back on that slant. That's what it is, and that's why the face is leaning backwards. That's actually the angle. And then when I put that, like here's the slant, that's the cut, following this slant here, whatever that slant is, and then you put it down like that, and then it causes the face to lean back. So that's what causes that, and you can't. That's why it's really difficult for you guys to look at my sculpture and go, oh, well, it doesn't look right. It looks different. It's because you're looking upward on the face. That's why when I sculpt, I'm actually looking down at the face, literally at the same angle. I'm looking really like right down on the face, straight on it. I have my chair at such a height that makes me look at the face dead on. And then for me to see what you're seeing, you see me lift it up all the time like this. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at it to see what you see. All right. When I look down on it like this, that jawline's perfect. It looks really nice. It looks really good. It's just the angle. It's all about angles. It's all about angles. That's why it's so difficult to criticize. It's okay when you're criticizing the little details, but when you're trying to get the face shape and all that stuff, you really can't criticize that. And I don't mean that as negative. I mean that as you're not seeing it the way I see it. You'll never see it the way I see it unless you're here or you buy a mask. Then you're going to go, oh, wow. You know what I mean? Oh, now I get it. You know what I mean? That's what usually happens. It's just so different. See, I got my buckets. I'm all ready for the silicone job on this. I got them right behind the sculpture. I got all my buckets lined up. I got my silicone sitting over here. Yeah, I just moved it. That's right. Sitting over there behind my camera here, behind this. Not my camera, but my... Horror Counselor, how you doing, buddy? Hello, all. The icon kind of looks drooped down on the screen used, but it's very subtle. I'm sorry for the late process on your cards. I've been extremely busy. Hey, do me a favor, Horror Counselor. We need to get. I want to pay you for your services because I really like your work. I definitely want to pay you for the services. I want you to do cards. I want you to do shots for the new mask. This is the version 2. I'm sending you a free mask, and I will honor that as soon as this is in production. This will be ready for the summer. I need your size. Plus, I still want to pay you. Even when giving you a mask, at some point I need to pay you for your work because you are amazing at what you do. And I do love what you did with the other stuff. I want the exact same thing that you did. Nothing new. You know what you did. And I only want to make sure that this will be, the version 2 will be the first or the last flashback that I do. And the Night Creeper's off the shelf, so I'm not really selling that. Hey, Horror Counselor, we're not ready for anything yet. But, God, I want to give you my... Are you on Facebook? I need to give you my phone number directly. I need to give you my phone number directly. Same with you, Asylum. I want to give you my phone number. If you're on Facebook, you can reach out to me under John Hickman, in parentheses, DJ Styles with 2 Y's. DJ as in disc jockey. Styles, Styyyles. It's in parentheses under John Hickman. Yes, that's great. Okay, send me send me a new message. This way, I have you, Josh McGrath. That's right. That's right. That's right. I couldn't remember your last name. I was like, oh shit, I can't find the guy. Where's he at? And I'm panicking. I'm like, because I loved your work. I'm like, I definitely want to use you permanently with everything I'm doing. This is only to sell the mask, promote it, and sell it. And I want to make sure that, you know, it's going to be on the website, Josh, and I want to put your name out there too, because if this thing really takes off and it's liable to be, you know, go big, I'm going to put your name out there on who designed the picture, who designed the, you know, the shots, who did the graphics. Okay, just send me a new chat on Facebook. This way I have you, and I got to find a way to save that so it doesn't get lost. But I want to give you my phone number. This way we have each other's horror counselor, you know, your name, and I want you to. I'll put you down, so I'll remember exactly. Graphic design or something. I'll put you under something so I make sure, because I get so many. You don't know. I have so many people. Phone numbers, not even from the Facebook. It's like crazy. I have, and I'm terrible with. I don't forget faces, but man, I'm shit on names. I just have a hard time remembering names. But I don't forget faces. When I meet somebody, I'll say, I met you before. When? Where? How long? 25 years ago? 30 years ago? But I still remember the face, even though they even aged. Doesn't make any sense, but this thing looks amazing. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to tilt this forward, but I got to put all the tools away because I'm done for the night anyway. I'm going to put all these tools in the bucket so I can lean this thing forward so you guys can see. You can see this bad boy. I got to take it all off of here. All my worms and noodles and noodles and worms, noodles, whatever you want to call them. Oh, glass is terrible. So you'll be able to see what I'm seeing. I'm not smoothing this yet tonight. I have to make sure it's perfectly smoothed out first before I can start smoothing it with naphtha. Naphtha is I'm going to go tomorrow. I'm going to go look for a gas mask. I need to get a gas mask. Hold on, let me get these worms and noodles here. Noodles and noodles. These are my clay noodles, worms. Call them clay worms. See these? I have a tool that actually makes these, but these are a savior. These will really help you out when you're trying to make. Give me a second. I need a place to put these without dropping them like I just did. Dropped a few. Okay, they're good. They're good. That's good. That's good. Now, let's see if we can tilt this thing forward. So you can see what I'm seeing. Sorry it's shaking, but I'm trying to balance it. And I'm trying to adjust it for the camera. Yeah, there's too many shadows. Hold on, let me move the lights so it gives you better lighting. Wow, really? That's not good. I know what I need to do. I need to lower it. All right, and this is causing way too much shadowing. Give me a second. Really? Really? So you're doing well with the Scream 6 masks. Well, that's good, man. Hold on, let me read what you're saying here, Josh. Let me catch up. Don't say anything more. Hold on, wait. You put a bunch out there while I was sent you a message on Messenger. Good, because I have the computer up and running behind me. Once I stop streaming, I'm going to go to it and I'm going to send you my. You know what? I'm going to send my phone number to you right now. All right. I want you to have my phone number. Then contact me, call me, and then we'll get everybody's contact information, address, all that fun stuff. Oh, wait a minute. Let me see. Where's my Facebook? I had it up. All right, Messenger. Give me a second, Josh. I'm just going to type in my phone number. Where the hell's the dash? All right, Josh, I sent you my number. You got it? Let me know. All right, I'm back over here looking at this. Now you got my phone number. We'll deal directly with each other. All right, now let's get back to trying to show you the sculpture the way I see it, the way I look at it. Now that's straight up and down. That's if the mask was on your face. Sorry for shaking it. I'm trying to balance it. There it is. That's what it looks like when you're looking straight at it. as if it was on your face. See, this is my perspective when I'm sculpting, to give you a better idea. All right, so I'm leaning it back. There you go. Now you have an idea of how it really looks. I feel like the peak of this eye cut might be just a little too high right here. Might be just a little too high because it doesn't match this side. But I just adjusted this, and that's probably why this is now out of proportion a little bit. But I don't want to screw with that. What I'll do is I'll raise that piece up just a touch, just a touch. It's only a hair. It's not really worth it. Okay, Josh, I sent you, horror counselor, I sent you my phone number. Let me know if you got it. Don't try to call me now because I'm on the phone with using the phone. All right. That's funny, Asylum. Asylum, if you got Facebook, send me a message. I'll give you my phone number. London Moore's already got my phone number, I believe. If you're still on, London. I don't know if you're still with me. But if you are, you can message me and I can give you my phone number. You guys have been with me forever. You're more like friends to me than you are just, associates with. So I look at you guys as friends more than YouTube people, if you want to call it that. So anyway, I'm just not a big. I'm a down to earth dude. There's no ego in what I am. Never was. I was never like that. Even when I DJ'd, when I was at my most popular, at my most popularity in my career, I was all about the music. I didn't give a damn about the limelight or getting famous or any of that stuff. I didn't care about none of that. I didn't care about it. But that's why I got so good, because I really focused on music. I didn't really care about the rest of it. And, I did well. Stayed working where other people didn't. And, but I'm a perfectionist by nature. I seek perfection every time I try to do something. That's just who I am. I can't change that. I always have been like that. So, Josh, or I'm going to horror counselor. Are you? So you're so busy with the Scream mask. Maybe I want to get one of your Scream masks. Scream 6. That'd be cool. Is it latex, or is it a hard resin? Feisty. So I'm not even sure what time it is. Yeah, when this sculpture shrunk down into a 24-inch mask, this is going to be a really, really nice mask. People are going to need to get on this one. slant might be in just a little too. I'm just looking at right in here in the corner here where this cut goes in. I'll have to see exactly where it starts. I think actually I can see it on the mask. Okay, that starts cutting in back behind the okay. I'm going to make a mark there so I remember. Oops. Crazy, man. Just a slight little adjustment there. And I went too high with it. That's okay. I can fix that later. Biggest thing is making sure I have the angle right. Actually, by doing that, it fixed my other problem over on this side. Yeah, no, no shit. See, sometimes things work out. There it is, baby. That looks better. Uh-oh. Yeah, that looks a lot better. I had the angle. You seen what I did? I had the angle starting like right here, and the angle starts back here. Slant into the eye cut. Just have a look at the picture and see the problem. It's these little tiny details that matter, man. This is the real deal when you're trying to really get it super close. You have to really pay attention to the smallest details. Oh, see, you know what? I don't know what was going on, but I wasn't getting updated. I literally had to close the screen and then open the screen back up to see the text that you guys sent. Okay. Yep, I've got it. Okay, perfect. You got my number. They're vinyl masks. Do you make them? Do you make the masks, or are you overhauling the vinyl mask as they coming to you? I take their mask and I rehaul them. Okay, completely to look like the age masks. Hey, about that cracking paste, I might need. Can I use that on latex? Cracking paste. I'm trying to remember how to make that because I want to do that with the H40 in certain spots. My H40 version that I'm going to be doing. Let me double check to set it. I'm going to take a look at the height. Now, did that fix that height problem? Yes, it did perfectly. Oh yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about. No shit. Our counselor already had my phone number. Oh boy, I'm just reading back the back texts because it doesn't look like you guys are able to text me. I'm not getting updated on here for some reason. Oh, I know they are. Well, first of all, vinyl doesn't shrink. Vinyl doesn't shrink. It's kind of like urethane rubber, same thing. Urethane doesn't shrink. Wow, these eye cuts look good, guys. I'm looking at what you're saying. Dead on like that, it looks good. Oh yeah, I'm happy with it. Yeah, latex, you have to add latex to the paint for it to stick to the latex masks. Um, yeah, latex can be really tricky. I, oh, I just got a notification somewhere. I guess it was on my phone. But anyway, I mean, there's ways to make homemade latex paint, adding acrylic paint to latex itself. And I find that using pigments are better, the powdered pigments, um, instead of paint. You just gets a better texture when you're painting your mask. I think that's how they make Justin Mayberry's paint. I don't know if you're familiar with that company. Um, what's it called? I got paint right over there. I should just grab a bottle and show you. I stopped making my own paints because I think I didn't like the feel of the surface of the paint. I didn't like the feel of the mask. Let me grab the paint. I'll show you what it is. This isn't even open yet. I got some Black Sabbath here. Nightshades. That's what I couldn't think of the name of the company. But this is the best paint for masks right here. Hands down, latex mask paint, the best on the market. And it isn't cheap, but I wouldn't do a mask without it. This is definitely, it's called Nightshades. And I think it was Justin, yeah. You can get it at Mayberry Monsters, MayberryMonsters.com. It's spelled, here, Can you see that? Right above my thumb. See the little website? Anyway, this paint, absolutely amazing. I buy it in 32-ounce bottles. It's expensive, but I use a lot of paint when I'm doing this. And this is the black. I got white. I got. But I stopped making my own latex paint. I did. I just don't. I don't like the way it feels. This stuff is so creamy and so smooth. Mabry Monsters. Mabry monsters.com. Good stuff. Always remember, latex can't be left at freezing temperatures, because if it is, it'll freeze up. Remember, it's got water in it, and it ruins latex big time. That's why they don't ship latex paint or latex, mask latex either. You can't get it in the dead of winter. Horror Castles, I remember when I was 15 years old, I sent an email to Mabry Mask asking for a job. Really? MabryMonsters.com. That's the best paint in the world for latex masks, hands down. I wouldn't steer you wrong on that. I've already did the experiment with doing the 3-part mixes with. I tried the house paint thing. That was the worst paint of all of them. Take in 1 part house paint, whatever color you want to make the latex. 1 part house paint, 1 part distilled water, and 1 part latex. And it works. It's great paint job, but once the paint starts to dry, there's something in that house latex paint that makes it feel very rough, chalky, kind of hard to explain, stiff. It's not very soft. Makes the mask turn stiff too. I didn't like the way it felt after a couple months of the mask sitting around. Like now, I have my mask over here, and I use Justin Mabry's Fright White on that, and it's still very soft to the touch. Mask feels great. Latex feels good, but it doesn't get under UV light. UV is #1 killer for any kind of latex. I'm getting notified on. Is that you, horror counselor, giving me notifications on Facebook, on Messenger? I'm hearing my computer chiming behind me. Well, you probably heard it too. Yep. Send me your phone number, buddy. Send me your contact information. I'll put it on my phone, and this way we can talk directly. Oh, I can't wait to look at that. I'm not facing my computer right now. I'm looking at the screen here, as you can see. But as soon as I jump off of here, I'm going to go over there and check you out. And then I'm going to write down your phone number, put it in my phone. What is my dream sculpt? Well, this is it. I don't know. I don't really have a dream sculpt. I've always been a huge Michael Myers fan. And there's so many people making the version 1 and version 2, the originals. And they're really good masks. So competing against that, nobody's making the flashback. There's 3 guys that make this flashback. Me, who is it? Come on, Nag, and come on. I just said it earlier. It's terrible. I'm trying to remember his. I don't want to put out his name. Um, that's terrible. I can't think of his. There's three people out there right now making the flashback. That's not a lot of competition, especially if you. Oh yeah, yeah, worldwide. That was Dana Coonsey. You want to look that up? Look it up on Dana Coonsey World Highest Dive, 1983, I think it was, the summer of 1983. Dana Coonsey, spelled with a K, Kunz, I think I, or IE. It's not Y. Coonsey. Dana, Dana, just one N. Dana Coonsey. It was on Wide World of Sports. I was working at where the hell was I working at? Henny's in Stone Harbor, in New Jersey. I was bussing. All of a sudden, I'm going, wait a minute. That's the kid that used to teach me how to dive. No way, he's going for the world record. It kind of blew my mind. It really did. It blew my mind. And watching him do the highest dive, and not only did he hit it. Wait till you see that video. It's on there. I watched it several times already. Um, you see the way he hits that water, man. Oh my God, what a perfect dive. But see, this kid, Dana Coonsey, when he was young, he was 15 years old when he was diving at the Aqua Circus where I used to work as a pool boy. And we got in trouble, of course, because we used to hang together. He was 15 and I was 13. Um, but we used to pal around. But he remembered me. So weird. I haven't followed up. That's right. There's a follow up to that story. I finally reached out to Dana. I found his contact information. I reached out to Dana probably about 6 months ago. Might have been a little longer. And I said, you're probably not gonna remember me. And damn, he didn't remember. He remembered everything. Yeah, you're the guy that got us all in deep shit. I went, wait a minute, no. You're the guys that got us into deep shit because you're the one that told us to get up on the ladder and jump off the platform. Uh, he was teaching me on the trampoline on how to, because that's how you learn how to become a high diver. You have to do it on the trampoline, and you have to get really good on the trampoline, knowing how to make what they call gainers, like flipping and a half twist in the flip, and learning all those tricks. And you have to learn how to control your spin. You have to learn how to. Well, you have to learn it. It has to become memory muscle memory before you get before you start diving at any high heights. So anyway. That's what he taught me on. He taught me on the trampoline. But the story goes, we got into trouble because the owner came in, and we're jumping off the 45-foot platform or whatever height it was. It was high, and he starts screaming at the divers and screaming at everybody. Yo, go! What the hell are you doing? Trying to put me out of business? Insurance won't cover that. And if anything had happened to any one of us, and that pool was only 12 foot deep at the deepest point. It wasn't like divers now, when they dive into these pools today, they are generally about 16 feet deep. They're not like 10 foot, 12 foot, because they're jumping high dives. High dives are 100 feet up and higher. You'll hit that bottom so quick it's not funny. The acceleration, by the time you hit the water, man, you're above. You're probably close to 100 mile an hour when you hit the surface of that water. And that's like hitting a brick wall. And all that, even though it's 10 feet of water under you, 12 feet was like pushing it. The bottom would taper on the bottom of that pool, and it was a very, very shallow taper. It wasn't like this real deep drop off. So the divers always tried to hit really close to the furthest point of where the deepest part was. And it wasn't natural. So most of them would do what they call a back dive when they were doing the 100-foot dive. they would do like a backflip first to keep themselves close to the platform. This way, when they hit the water, they were really in the deepest part of the pool. Um, there was an accident there, and that's what I think closed the pool at some point. There was an accident where one of the divers didn't break his he went out a little too far, and he smacked his he broke his ankles or something, I don't know, when he hit the bottom of the pool, and it was real bad. It was blood all over in the pool and everything. It was compound fractures, meaning the bone came out of the flesh. So, and that was during practice. It wasn't during the show. It was a practice. And those guys used to practice. I mean, oh my God. They would spend literally half the day on the trampoline to get their, constant precision. Oh, Jesus, man, I can imagine that. Jesus, that's bad. Yeah, it's I can't imagine breaking. I think that because they're big bones. When you break your legs, man, they're huge bones, and when they break, man, they don't tickle. That's a real painful. That's hell. That's hell. I think your body goes into shock after a few seconds. You initial pain, and then your body goes into shock, but then you go into complete, total fucking. Excuse my language, but you go into complete recovery mode is brutal. I can't imagine that. The pain's got to be so hard trying to get through that. Setting of the bones. Ha! Oh, Jesus. Oh, don't tell me about that. I just had my fingers set. I broke a few ribs. I played semi-pro football. Knock on wood, the only thing I've ever broken was my fingers. And they're crooked as all shit because of it. Let me see, which ones were they? It was this one here. You can see how crooked my middle finger is. And my ring finger, believe it or not, it stayed straight. My ring finger got broke. My hand got caught in the jersey. They used to have these jerseys in flag football. I didn't even do it in semi-pro football. I did it in flag football. I went to grab the guy's flag. I dove to grab the guy's flag, and my fingers got two fingers. My ring finger and my middle finger got caught in the big loops in his jersey. And the guy was a big dude. He was a running back, and he was actually an ex-NFL football player. Played for the New York Giants many years ago. He was like a third string, fourth string, whatever the hell he was. He wasn't like the premier backs, because that was at that time. I think Tiki Barber was still their running back. Anyway, I forget. He was like on third string. He might have been just practice squad for all I know. But anyway, I went to grab this guy's flag, and man, he took me for a dragging me by my broken fingers down the field. I'm like, yo, dude, all right, I give up. You can have the touchdown. Let go of my fingers. He's like, what the hell? He's dragging me down the field. All I did was slow him up enough to where the other guys got the flag. Meanwhile, I'm in agony. Look at my fingers dangling all over the place. That ain't fun, man. I know all about that shit. I know what bones feel like when they're broke. Ribs, that's a whole nother problem. Oh, Jesus Christ, that's bad. Ugh. Yeah, your body goes into shock, I think, right away. That's why I didn't feel it when I broke my fingers. I didn't feel it at all. I didn't feel it until like 2 days later or a day later or something like that, once the medication wore off, because they gave me some good shit. The guy that set him were really good. He was really good. He set my fingers really good. I not only did I break the fingers, I also torn some tissue in there, um, muscle tissue. So that was a pretty painful recovery. Took a little while. So I know all about the pain of that. And when you're young, it's very traumatic. When you're older, you know what the hell you did. And when you don't feel it, you know it's bad. That's a fact. When you don't feel it, man, it's bad. When it hurts like hell, it's minor injury. You miss your tendons by a half inch. Was it a compound fracture? Horror? Ooh, God damn, you're lucky. You could have bled out. A lot of bruising, I'll tell you that. A lot of bruising. My buddy was he used to ride dirt bikes in race tournaments and stuff. And in our neighborhood, we had these railroad tracks. And some jerk off, and apparently this train tracks have been out of service for many years. We used to ride up and down the train tracks. There used to be a path. Yeah, I bet you do. You're 11 years old, maybe. Yeah, that's bad. You know, it's traumatic. It's traumatic big time. It's not something you never forget it. I'll tell you a little quick story. So let me see, how old was I? About 12, 13. And I went over to this, it was the guy, my dad was friends with this guy named Art Keefe, and he was a police officer. All right, so they were buddies. They used to hang out with all each other, and they were both into woodworking. They used to do it. He had a wood shop. My dad had a wood shop, and they would. My dad was not a fine finisher, where Art loved doing fine finish work, and my dad liked doing I mean, my dad did fine finish stuff, but he didn't like that tedious stuff. And I'm just the opposite. I love tedious work. So, we went over to their house for the day for a barbecue or something like that. And little Bobby, his son, was running up and down the street with a lawnmower. Not running, it was just, pushing it up and down, pushing it up and down. He was probably like 8 years old, 7 years old, something like that. And he's messing around with the lawnmower and he's running. But wouldn't you know, he runs right up onto my heel. All right. And I didn't feel that one either. All of a sudden we realized that right above my heel is the Achilles tendon. Well, he severed part of my Achilles tendon. And I went right to the ground. And when they had to call an ambulance because I was bleeding all over the place. I got like 8 stitches, 10 stitches, I don't know, whatever the hell it was. The funny part of that story was I get to the doctors. And the doctor's looking at me. He's like, how the hell did you do this? And he was just going to stitch me up. And then he looked into it further and he saw that some of my Achilles tendon was actually torn. So I had to get a little surgery. So they put me to sleep. They surgery it up, and they fixed the tendons. But they put me on a twilight. They didn't put me completely to sleep. They just put me in twilight. So I was somewhat conscious. I didn't feel nothing. They had me pretty numb. But for whatever reason, I felt the needle when they were injecting it into the tendon, and my whole leg just bam shot up like this. Bam! It just shot up. I bent like 4 needles. I'm trying to inject painkiller, numb me up. they're trying to numb me up, and every time they stuck that into that tendon, man, my whole damn leg shot up. I couldn't control it. It wasn't a reflex. It was just a lot of pain. So yeah, I got run over by a little lawnmower. Not running. Yeah, I'm not afraid of. The weird thing is, I've had a lot of injuries through my life. Not too dramatic, but I just feel like you don't if you don't have battle scars, you haven't lived life. You know, the reason why I'm crippled right now is because of all the battle scars. I've got 9 vertebrae that are fused in my back naturally that they won't even surgically repair because they think it's too dangerous. Um, the only thing that saves me, even though that I'm a fat dude, I still have a really solid core. My stomach muscles are still like steel from all the swimming that I used to do and all the diving and all the exercise. I was a high diver. I was a swimmer, trampoline artist. That was more like just to work out for, but that was part of the routine. Did that for several years. I did that probably like 5, 6 years with the trampoline. Um, but my core was always so strong. And the doctor said to me, well, about 10 years ago, he said, man, he says, I don't even understand how you're not in a wheelchair now. Your back's a mess. It might have been 8 years. I think it was like 8 years ago because I went to go get an MRI done. For the first time, I never got an MRI done on my back. And about 8 years ago, I got an MRI done. And I was thinking it was just, herniated discs. And I was going to go to Philadelphia at the Laser Spine Institute, and I wanted to see if they could do that little 1 inch cut, and then just fix my herniated disc, and let me live on a normal life. Well, that's when they realized my back was completely fused. 9 vertebrae were fused. I got bulging discs. I got all these friggin' major problems with my back. And the doctor looks at me and says, man, what were you, in a train accident? And I mean that literally. Were you ever in a real bad car accident? I said, no, I played semi-pro football and flag football and football. Played a lot of football. That's the one thing I would change differently. I would never play the game. I should have just stuck to coaching. I was a good coach, too. But I had a lot of heart and I loved the game. And it was really hard to keep me off the field, especially when I was young. So, he said to me, he says, if it wasn't for your core, you would be in a wheelchair, no doubt about it. He tested the strength of my core. He couldn't believe it. I'll never forget, about 10 years ago, before my spine, maybe about 15 years ago, my spine wasn't in bed, it wasn't fused up yet, because that happens naturally over time when your discs are completely crushed. When your discs are crushed, the bone will grow over top of the discs, and that's what happened. And I still had flexibility about 15, 20 years ago. I would say about 20 years ago. I was about 40 years old. So I went to the gym, and they put me on one of those machines where the bar goes across your chest, and I'm lifting a stack of weight behind me, and I got who was it was with me? Oh, my wife was with me. All right, and then there's a guy in the gym in the back, and he's watching, and I'm telling my wife, my wife's not an exerciser or any of that stuff. I said, you see that little thing? Put a few pounds on you. Just put it down wherever you got to put it. So I hit this thing, and I just blam! I hit it really hard, thinking it was going to be heavy. So I'm like, I pushed into it pretty hard. And man, I slammed it. I said, did you put any weight on there? She says, yeah, I got half the stack on there. And I went, wait, what? I'm like, no way. So I said, I don't feel the weight at all. And apparently it was like 200 pounds. So I didn't feel that weight with my core. So she literally puts the whole stack by the time we get done, we keep inching up and we get to the whole stack. And I'm slamming the whole stack, and that was like 300 pounds. And it wasn't enough to get, I had to literally do 20 sets or 20 reps of I think like 6 sets to feel any burn at all with 300 pounds. And I'm not joking. Yeah, it could have. I slammed it. But see, my core was always so rock solid. Even my lower abdomen was really strong. It was the swimming. And the thing is, my body, even now, I can push on my stomach, and my core is still rock, and I'm not flexing. Even when I'm not flexing, it's hard. And not flexing at all, and it's hard. I don't even know how to be. And I think what's happening, when you have back injuries like that, your body is in constant stress. So my core never releases, it never relaxes. And I think that's why it always feels so tight, because my body has naturally stayed in flex mode. And it's doing it naturally because it's trying to protect me from the injury that's in my back. I guess that's what it is. But that's how it was explained to me by my family doctor. He says your core's in constant stress because your injury is making your body react to the injury, and it's to protect your injury. Your abdomen, your stomach muscles will stay constricted and stay tight. So that's why when I push on my stomach, it literally feels hard as a rock. It does. It's solid. It's under a little bit of flab, but I can talk to you about injuries all day long. I mean, I've had them. I know what they are. Thank God I was an athlete. Thank God, because otherwise I'd be in a wheelchair. I would be in a wheelchair. There's no two ways about it. And nobody wants to live like that. I mean, it's bad enough that I hobble around now at 62, almost 63. But it sucks. It sucks being hindered because I have the energy mentally and the stamina to work my ass off still, but my body is breaking down. It just doesn't want to do it. But thank God for the core staying strong. Everything else can go to shit, but let that core stay the way it is, because otherwise I am going to be in a wheelchair. Yeah, so I'm 63 years old. I'll be 63 in June, the end of June. So I've hit the official retirement age last year. I love dogs too, but my son's got a beautiful dog. I'm trying to remember the name of what type of dog it is. I got a picture of it on my phone. Beautiful dog. They gave it the dumbest name. They like the name. I don't want to say that too. But they named it Pickle. I'm like, Pickle? Really? Beautiful dog. They named it Pickle. I could see that like in a little Chihuahua or something, but not this dog. But this dog it's not a real big dog. It looks like it's a combination of a golden retriever and some other that's a smaller dog. What type of dog was in the Disney movie? What the hell was that? That famous Disney movie that's old. I can't remember the name of the movie now. Jesus, it's terrible. But it's one of those. They look a little. They got the flappy ears, the long floppy ears, and they're not dachshunds. Anyway, it's that, and it's the crossbreed. It's both dogs. It's a golden retriever, and that breed of dog, and it's a beautiful dog. Love that dog. But boy, that dog is so attached to my son. Oh, no, it's not a hound. Not the hound. It was the type of dog it was. I can't remember the name of the damn movie. Name a couple of the classic cartoon, the old stuff when they used to actually paint the cartoons. was a couple of, movies involving with dogs. Cartoon. Lady and the Tramp. No, Lady and the Tramp. I don't know. Whatever dog it was. It was a beautiful dog. Anyway, but to give that dog a name, Pickle. I'm like, no, what are you doing? But anyway, it's their dog. The dog loves my son so much, and it's like a second kid to them. My wife, not a big fan of animals as pets. I love dogs, grew up with dogs, always kind of wanted a dog, but thank God I don't have one now because it'd be really hard for me to take care of a dog. Dalmatians, yeah, that's it. No, not Dalmatian. Dalmatian's the spotted dog. No, it's not that one. Fox and the Hound, it wasn't that movie. There was another one that was, I can't remember the name of it. It wasn't the Dalmatians. I can see the logo where the dog had the floppy ears and it was a brown, light brown dog. Very small dog. Wasn't real big. Can't think of the name of it. No, I don't think it was the Fox and the Hound. It'll hit me when I finally click off of here. I love dogs. I love dogs myself, but my wife, she couldn't. But to take care of one right now, man, that'd be really tough for me. I love me some dog. When he comes here with the dog, man, it's just fun. I get to. Maybe that's what it was all the time. Nah, I mean, it's an older movie. It goes back even further than All Dogs Go to Heaven. That's old, but it's not that old. This one was made back in the, I want to say 60s. Wait a minute, you were attacked by a dog? Where the hell did you write that on? Oh, I gotta back up, see where you were attacked. Okay, wait a minute. It was intending to on killing me. Hold on, now I gotta back up here. Holy shit. I was attacked by a big ass dog when I was 10 years old. Between breaking your ankle and getting attacked by dogs, what were you doing wrong? 10 years old, I was in my friend's backyard and his dog was chained up. It attacked me out of nowhere. I'm trying to read the print so small, my eyesight sucks. And to this day, I get nervous around big dogs, which sucks because I love dogs. Yeah, well, you can't, you just have to always keep a red flag in your pocket. You always keep that little alert. Yeah, that's for sure. You could have ripped your arm off. Yeah, man. Yeah, well, dogs. I mean, they're very territorial, very territorial. And being only 10 years old, you're not going to know that. But your parents or somebody should have been there, especially if the dog had tendencies of being very um, territorial, which would make a dog bite. And my brother, like a dumbass, he used to be alive. He's no longer there, but God bless his soul. But he he made the mistake of giving a dog a bone and then try to take it back. Boy, did he get bit. He got the shit bit out of him. Yeah, once a dog tastes blood, human blood, it's over. Dog can't be, you can't, that dog can't stay alive. Um, it's sad because the intention was never to be that. He was just being very territorial. I bet you she was furious. Damn right, getting bit by a dog. Hell yeah. Um, because that's not so much your fault. It's the parents who were there. Whoever was not watching or knew that that dog was territorial like that and knew it couldn't be trusted, that's their fault. I mean, but I mean, it probably never bit anybody. That doesn't mean you don't know that that dog's capable of biting somebody. Everyone knows when a dog's like that. You know that that dog's capable of biting somebody. It's just a matter of the right situation at the wrong time and being there at the wrong time. But I get angry with people that train their dogs. They get these, what do they call them? Not Rottweilers. They're very friendly dogs if they're raised right. They got the strong jaws. I can't think of boxers. Not the boxer. Boxer doesn't have a face. What do they call them? They use them for fighting all the time. They're fighting dogs. But God, I hate it when you see dogs being trained for that shit. It's disgusting. Dog from Cujo. Yeah. Well, are you talking about that was the kind of, it was a Saint Bernard? Saint Bernards can be, well, they're usually docile. They're usually docile, but for whatever reason, maybe it was just very protective. Although Saint Bernards, I remember there was one in the neighborhood. You just didn't. You could look at it, and you didn't know whether it was safe to pet it. You didn't trust the situation. I bet you didn't. Yeah, I'm going to be really happy with this sculpture. I'm really happy with this. So, guys, I want to say goodnight because I've got to get back. I got to get to bed. I'm dead tired. Intimidated, you never know. You don't know what's going on in a dog's mind. Territory is always usually their biggest thing is always territorial. You cross into their territory and they don't want you there. They're going to let you know real quick. But yeah, it's time for me to go to bed. I'm going to get your information. I'm going to look at that tomorrow. I'm really getting sleepy. That's the problem. My medicine's kicking in too. I got to. Oh, wait a minute. I got to go take that. I didn't take that yet. Should have been kicking in. That's probably why I'm getting sleepy because I didn't take my medicine yet. My heart medicine. Time to go take my heart meds. I still have to take heart meds as long as I'm, but they fixed my heart. It's just now it's precautionary stuff that I'm taking. But it does make you drowsy a little bit if you don't take it. That's why I feel a little weird. So, it's time to say goodnight, guys. And I'm going to kill this lights. But we've got ourselves a really nice, I think. Yeah, man, I'm really happy with that. I like the way that looks. I like it. I like it a lot. Just got to continue to smooth it. can really see those eye cuts now. That's good. Good angle. Oh yeah, this is going to be the V2 flashback. V2 FB78. Oh, I didn't show you this. I didn't show you the insignia on the back of the sculpture. All right, notice I took away the big stuff down here. I put the FB78, V2 FB78 above here. A row of hair goes here, a row of hair goes here, and a row of hair goes above that. You won't see these, like the hair will be down below this, so you won't see any of this stuff here. But it'll be underneath the mask where I want it to be. The clay sculpture is just relaxed. I'm not sure what you mean, Asylum. Oh, that keeps, all right. Whenever you have to always put a circle on the top of the slit because you want that dimple in the mask, because what that prevents is when you cut this out in the mask, and you don't cut it out completely from on the outer edge. You cut the little pimple that's round on the inside. You slit it and cut the pimple just on the inside, and what that does is it keeps it from tearing. That mask will never tear beyond that point. So the seam will stay there and it'll never tear beyond that point. That's why you'll always put the round dimple. And, you know, it's actually a round, literally round, and it's shaped like a round, like one of my, what do you call it? I used the, what do you call it? The little round thing, the shaper. And I pushed it in there. That's what that is. But that's what that's for. You have to make sure that you put the, always want to put that in your mask when you're sculpting. You sculpt it in there because otherwise you'll have latex tearing once you cut it. You only cut the seam right to the edge of this right here, and then you cut the pimple out on the inside, but not all the way to the surface. Only the pimple and right into the cut itself, because then it'll never tear, never tear. I'll show you one of my masks that I cut to show you. But I want to say goodnight, guys. Asylum, send me your information, will you? Hopefully you have Facebook. You can do a private message on Messenger, or send me an email at djstyles with 3 Y's at gmail.com. All right, that's DJ Styles, DJSTYYYLES at gmail.com. And send me your contact information through there. Oh man, if you don't have Facebook. I use Messenger or Facebook, but I only use it for business. I mean, I do post some shit, but I don't really care. Sometimes I'll go political, and I shouldn't, but I do. Because I worry about, not me, I worry about my kids. I worry about their future. It's not selfish reasons. And I'm not one side or the other, actually. I'm you know, I just want our government to start working for us again. That's what I really want. They haven't done it in decades. So that's the issue. And if you've been around long enough, you see the truth. You don't see it when you're young, because even when I was young, I was more liberal. But fact is, that's what they want you to be, because then they can keep you dumbed down and keep you uneducated so you don't question anything that they do. So the longer you're alive, the more you really realize that it's a scam. And they're the ones getting rich, not us. So anyway, that happens to us naturally as we get older. We become less liberal, more conservative, because we know we start seeing the truth on a lot of things. And it's not because you're listening to what anyone says. It's because you lived long enough to see who actually was telling the truth through those years. And believe me, I can't count the amount of lies that we're told. Can't count them all. That's how bad it is. So just keep that in mind, guys. My reasons for being in my position it's not for selfish reasons. It's because of I'm there because I want to protect you guys, the young people. You know, funny, I used to be against a lot of things my parents used to be for. And then I became their age and started to get wise and started to see the truth. And guess what? They were right. So don't ever knock your parents. Your parents lived long enough to see the truth. Who's telling it and who isn't. You know, it's just like history. Real history versus fake history. I want you to think that their new history is truth, and it's not. It's ridiculous. Anyway, I see a lot of stuff that's crazy. Anyway, guys, I got to get off of here. I got to get some sleep, and I got to get my medicine, and I definitely need something to eat. I'm getting hungry. All right, guys. Minus my fat belly. I'm going to say goodnight. Peace. See you on the next video.